Dear friend, just giving you a heads up on what I've been doing the past week. I'm working to leave my job, even though it's very fulfilling and it's well paid. I'm reaching that point of compassion fatigue. And that is something that tends to happen if you've been really dedicated in the healthcare world. It's a real known thing. And I've reflected back and realized I have been working on this, studying, interning, then working. Community health care, partial hospitalization programs, group practices, and now private practice. For the past few years now, nonstop, full dedication, full investment. And I'm finally tired. And sometimes it comes to a point where I'm sitting with teens every day and I'm hearing the exact same thing. You have to give me the tools to change, or nothing's changing, or I don't want to be here, or this and that. The constant negativity kind of leads you to a point of, or picking battles too. And I don't know, testing your limits, knowing your vulnerabilities, picking on them continuously. There comes to a point where you get really tired and that compassion is lost. So lately I've been really spending a lot of time in my office trying to maintain that capacity and charge my batteries just to make sure I am patient in the groups that I have to teach. Teaching DBT or processing with clients that give me blank stares or have a condescending attitude or just does not want to participate 24/7. Imagine doing that for 5 months. It takes so much patience. And then your passing happened, and that just made me go through this cycle of, I've had enough of BS. We all deserve to be happy. Why do we invest in things that keep us stuck? So for the past couple of weeks, I've actually been applying to jobs. I was thinking, what if I work my butt off marketing for my private practice, get some clients, and just make that my career for the next few months so I could finally get my license. I am less than a third done, which is amazing. If I were to stay in this current full-time job, I would be done in 3 to 4 months, and I could get my license. If I were to have the same salary, there is a certain number of clients that I need for my private practice. So I was looking into finances, figuring out what that number is, looking how much I'm earning in my private practice, just doing all the facts and figures that I could think of, just to know if it would be doable if I were to quit my job right away. And then I was thinking, you need the hours, but you also need space to work through this compassion fatigue. So why don't you find a side job somewhere else? There's this restaurant I go to every day because it's the only opportunity I get some social exposure. And the bartenders are so nice. They know me. They know exactly what I want. They fill me that glass of Pinot Grigio and welcome me to the point where I tell them, hey, don't forget to ask me for a second glass. I've got limits. But they've been really attuned to my frustrations at work, and I even asked them if they had a job open. Unfortunately, they didn't, but they gave me the application, and I sat there filling it out. And every time I fill in my resume or show the history of where I've been, it's always very surprising. It actually puts me in a place of relief. Yes, I've experienced many things. Yes, it's been a journey. But boy, have I experienced a lot, and that's what got me here. Even though I knew they weren't going to give me a job, there was a moment of pride there, just writing it down instead of typing it. When you write and process things, just like journaling, first of all, it's very mindful, and second of all, it helps you think more deeply. And that gave me some sense of relief. I then also went to a Starbucks it's probably the best Starbucks I've ever experienced, aside from the one from college that was just below my dorm. A lot of smiling faces, always welcoming, also knowing my name, like the restaurant that I go to around the corner. And I just asked them, are you hiring? Right? So I had these options. Should I stay at this job until I fill up clientele and can do my private practice full time? Or should I quit my job altogether, go at the pace I'm going with my private practice and gradually get those clients without pressure and improve my mental health by working somewhere that gets me outside of that funk? Or, as some of my clients say, should I thug it out for the next 4 months and get that license because I know how many hours I get month by month? So many questions. I processed it with friends. Whatever the answer is, I knew that I do want to leave Washington State because it's been very difficult finding friends. I went out with those girls again. I figured, okay, give it another chance, have an open mind. We went to Palmer's, and there were these two ladies, maybe a little older than me, but we connected with them. And I felt like I'd rather be talking to those ladies. Because again, we were talking about guys. And I remember that time when I would be dating endlessly all these guys. And there would just be these automatic hints knowing that the guy was not that interested. And I just felt so bad hearing these stories again and again with the young girls that I was hanging out with. And then the turning point, again, me not dealing with BS anymore since your passing. We were hanging out around a pool table with some dudes playing, and, you know, I was engaged. I was talking with the girls that I hung out with and the other ladies that we just met. And, you know, my order arrived. It was a tuna melt. I don't know, for some reason I had the urge to have a tuna melt. And I left it on the table. I wasn't entirely hungry. You know that where you're not really hungry, but you know you could eat. I was just more engaged with talking with people. And then there came a point where the dude was like, is that yours? Like, it smells. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's tuna melt. Well, it smells, and it's been sitting there for I don't know how long. First thing I said was, you must have a very sensitive sense of smell. How has that been going for you, throughout your lifetime? And I also said, with that attitude, have you ever had a girlfriend? He's like, no, I don't want to date you. And I said, no, I did not say that. I asked you, have you ever dated someone? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay, well, maybe practice being kinder. And that's what I mean. I've been having this attitude where I can't handle people being rude anymore. Plus, I was also just feeling really bad being there and hearing these same stories where I just recognized I am too old to be young and I'm too young to be old, if you've ever heard that phrase. And I told the girls, I said, I am so sorry. I have to leave. I am just done. I'm just done. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? And the other one placed her hands on my face saying, no, I still want to hang out with you. And I'm like, I know, I appreciate you so much, but This breakup just really made me not feel comfortable with where I am. I just feel weird. A lot is happening. I feel weird. I just gotta go. And I left. And I wonder about texting those girls again. I should. Like, they reached out the next day checking in, and I replied and I said, I'm fine. I appreciate you all. I hope you made it home safely. But I'm just not ready to reach out because I think there is a phase of my life that is done. And if I push it more and more, it just doesn't make sense anymore. I talked about it with my therapist and realized it's not necessarily about, having to start all over again. But it's more about me recognizing that I anticipated in my trajectory that I would be settled down by now. And having to redo those things that take a lot of mental effort. Just knowing I've done it in other places that I lived. I did it in Spain, then in the Netherlands, then in Pittsburgh, and now in Washington. There comes a point where I'm done doing it again and again and again. Life has started for me so many times. There comes a point where I'd like it to continue at a pace that just feels comfortable and I could just exist. Because the social life has been so difficult, I'm just planning to get my license, get those hours. The question is where I'm going to move afterwards. And the only thing I could think of is Pittsburgh, because that's the most familiar place I've been to and the one where I put the most effort and actually have friends, and it's comfortable and I know my way around with my eyes closed. At the same time, I'm wondering if I'm giving up too soon because there's a lot to offer in Washington State. It is a very beautiful state. People are posting places they go, whether it's hiking or going to lakes. And here I am thinking I haven't gone there yet. There's that need to push and try. And to what point do I need to push? If I think back on, doing the math and looking up how many leads I've made in the past month, my conversion rate is 33%. And I'm putting a lot of money in to market it. And the value of my customers are high. If I were to compare that to living in Washington State, I'm putting so much investment, marketing myself, putting myself out there. The return on investment is just not that much. A miracle happened, and I don't know if it's something you did from way up there in the heavens for me. But some touch of positivity really happened last Friday. And the feeling feels so good. It makes you want to keep trying and working harder. I decided to branch out and not go to the bar that I usually go to around the corner, the familiar restaurant where they know that I do like that glass of Pinot Grigio. I branched out and went to Bellevue, a little further out from downtown, and found this other cozy restaurant with a nice bar, with a wooden round table. It kind of reminded me of a bar I went to back in Georgia during the spring holidays. I sat there and there were two women next to me talking, and across from me was some Italians talking. I don't know, just a really good vibrant crowd. And then a man sat next to me, and I could tell that he wanted to start a conversation, but didn't really know what to say. I ordered some prawns with rice. It was okay. I also got my Pinot Grigio. I had to say the vibe over the menu selection was really good. I mean, worthwhile going back again for sure. I didn't stay that long because I was tired. As soon as I was getting ready to go, the man finally talked to me and he said, "Are you a lawyer? You just have that vibe." I'm like, wow, well, I consider myself the opposite. The opposite? Yeah. There's law, and then there's ethics. What would that be? I'm a therapist. Oh, that's cool. That makes sense. I got a good look at him, and he wasn't really my type, and he was a little older. And again, there's this attitude I have, partially where I just want to engage, but don't feel like I'm engaging. Like I'm off the fence. Like, what value would this bring? How much investment? How much is this worth it? If I make the effort, am I going to get something back? I acknowledged him with a smile and continued to walk away until the two women sitting next to me said, "You know, I admire you for dining alone." At first, I was like, oh no, bullshit again, making me feel shameful for being lonely, but I tried to be open because I did glance at these two women throughout the evening, and they seemed really nice. So I tried to be open, and I said, "Well, thank you. That's how the Europeans do it." And they finally said something that just made me cry because I've been waiting for someone to understand me. Like earlier that day on the phone, I was talking to my brother, and he was saying how he wanted to move to Washington. And somehow that really pissed me off because I was like, have you been hearing me? It's awful to live here. It's impossible to make friends. One of the ladies said to me, "Well, good for you, because it's really hard to put yourself out there. It's very difficult to make friends." We met each other through an art meetup. I said, "Really? Wow, that's amazing." The lady continued and said, "I'm married, but my friend here, she's single, and she's also known she's been trying to get herself out there too." And I said, "Yeah, I get it. I am single. I came here for love." And then we started talking about how one of them met their husband from Long Island. They found out I'm originally from Long Island, so the conversation just got better and better. And again, I was thinking, I'm on the fence. Like, this is a really good talk, but I'm still tired and I want to go, and I'm not sure I want to engage. But it did feel good. And the lady just said, "Let me give you my card." When is the last time that people actually notice you, want to have a conversation, and just make friends at a place? That's how it used to be. Plus, they give you your card, like a physical card. She gave me a nice card. And she said, "Contact me sometime. And maybe the three of us could get together. I mean, I'm older, I'm married now, but I know what it's like. Maybe you could check out our art group, or we could do something." And then she told me about where you could get good bagels in Washington, because no one could do it like in New York. I laughed and I said, "Thank you." And I left. Now, those are the moments, I'd say 1 in 350 plus days that I've been here. 1 in 350 plus days that I got a win, that you could consider it a customer. If we're talking about serendipity here. A customer converted to a potential friend. And yes, we've been exchanging text messages the next couple of days. I connected with the other woman. We're signing up for speed dating on Valentine's Day just to get through that darn day. And I just keep pushing, like my trainer tells me. And it felt good going on the treadmill today, knowing I had that win.